Good morning, afternoon and evening, my crazies. My name's Angela. I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady and welcome back to today's Whips, Bits and Chat. Come on, let's go and see what I got for you today. Right, so as we always do every week, just so I know it's done and I don't forget, it's time for video roundup. Right, so we had a couple videos extra out this week. We had a new pattern release. Now, you guys have seen it sitting on my in my background all year, wondering what it was. The written pattern has been also available all year over on Ravelry, so I thought, you know what, it's about time I just released it. So we now have the free tutorial here on YouTube, okay, and it is the fairy wine box cover. So which you guys know what it looks like, I think, but just in case you don't, I will grab it off the back shelf. Right, so here she is. Now mine does have a wine box in it. The wine box has been there over a year. Does wine get better with age once opened, or does it just go off? I'm not really much of a wine drinker, but anyway, here she is. She's a bit scruffety tuffety and she needs her skirt fixed a little, but it is the fairy wine box cover. Now the tap comes out between her legs, which is why she's the same, a similar pattern to the Naughty Santa, who also has the tap available near the legs, hence why they're naughty. Now, you don't have to use either of those patterns as I've intended them to be, which is really naughty, really cheeky, and something to make the family laugh at Christmas, especially the older group anyway. You don't have to use them for that. You can omit, ignore, don't bother doing the gap between, and just repeat the back panel for the front panel, okay, which does make it a lot easier, which will give you a solid box cover for you to maybe pop Christmas presents in and pop it under the tree, or even have something else in it. As you can see, I use it to store yarn, and at some point I will take the bladder out of this box, cut the lid off it and use it for something, some other type of storage, because the wine in here is proper funky horrible. Yeah, so that was a video number 1, which is the wine box cover #22. Next up for you guys, I put in what else apart from yarn did I buy in Australia. I did miss out some clothing, but there was only 3 pieces, and you're bound to see them over the next month or so. So I didn't bother showing you those, and they were in the wash as well. On the next video, or the last video for this week that I put out, was a fun day, a die day number 9. And it's November's yarns. I thought it was best if I actually tell you what month they're in, because then when it comes to knocking it down, if you like the colours in there or you like the yarn, you can sort of go, Ange, is there a chance you can, or sorry, Poppy, is there a chance you can reproduce so and so Hank from Fun Day Die Day 9? Oh, it's the November lot, save you having to hunt so much. You see where I'm coming from here? But all of those yarns are still up for grabs. If you would like more details, then send me an email. The email is, of course, in the description box down below. And talking about yarn that's left over, I'm going to show you that lot again that's up there from weeks 1 1 through to 8, isn't it? Because I've only had a couple go out the door, and like, which was Sabrina's and a Mrs. C Cottage. Those went out the door, and that's been it for orders and purchases of that yarn. So I've got plenty left, and I haven't learnt to knit socks yet, so, or anything else with it. So if you want to grab it, you've got a chance. Right, so let's start showing you the hanks that were up in that cupboard there. Now, yes, I've still got some left up there. That's because the smaller cube has got just samples in, which I'm not sending out at the moment. I'm not selling at the moment. And the other one has got this month's yarn in, which I haven't finished the videos on, so I'm not showing you. Right, so let's get going. Now, I cannot remember video numbers, but I can give you video names. And if you do choose to purchase, then of course I will hunt through and find the right video for you. Right, so here we go. Our first one up, or first two up, we've got two of these. And they are the rainbows. Okay, I'm hoping that if I bring them close, cool. Okay, so these are the rainbows with my poppy label, so it gives you all the details of wash instructions and everything like that. But they are 100% cotton. They are a DK weight, and there's 100 grams. There is 200 meters. Or 218 yards approximately, and needle size of 4mm, and ideally wash at 30, although you can wash at 40 degrees. Everyone's trying to save a bit of cash at the moment by washing a bit lower, and these yarns you can wash low, or of course hand wash. Now there are two of those available. Okay, we also have an oops rainbow. Now the reason the oops rainbow is an oops rainbow is because the colour sequence is out. I put the poppy purple in the wrong spot. I show you on last month's oops video, that one. That's how I know it's on the oops video, because it was an oops. Right, then we have where we go, purple pink roses. Okay, we have the purple pink roses set. Now I was aiming to make sock sets, but got a bit confused and put DK in on some of them. So we have, oh, I've got to make sure that I know the weights here. Right. Right, so we have one purple pink and one sage green. Okay, I'm hoping that works. There we go. And I've got a pen on me. And these ones are the, where are you? Nope. Sorry, I am being cheeky. I'm in the process of setting up my own website at the moment, but it's going slow. Postage is confusing the daylights out of me, because I was hoping I'd be able to do that for you, but so I could tell you all about it today. It's not worked. Right, where are we? It's not showing everything on my site either at the moment. There we go, let's do it that way. Sorry about this. Let's go down. There we go, purple, pink, sage. They are the 50-50, which means it's 50 grams cotton, 50 grams acrylic. And these ones, where's the details? There we go. There is approximately 165 meters or 180 yards per hank, and it's a hook size number 3 because they are a 4-ply or a fingering weight yarn. I'm not good with that word. And of course machine wash them at 30 degrees. So that's those two. Okay. Then I have a bit of a wad of, oops, I've mucked up. Alright, so this next one, ideally I would love to sell it as a set. There we go. Because there is a nice chunk of them, but of course I'll separate them if you'd prefer it. Now it's 100% cotton and it's DK 3-weight 10-ply yarn. This listing is for the 3 main ones that I've got on there, which is 2 of the pink, purple roses and then 1 of the sages. Okay, so it's 3 hanks there, and hopefully they will go off as a set. So that's those ones. Then what have we got? There's a few more to go. Where are we going now? Lobster pot, where are you? Now this lobster pot is a DK weight again, so I've given you all the details of the DK, so I think I can save going through it multiple times. I'll just have it on the bottom of the screen. See, sensible thing to do there. Right, so the lobster pot is a DK weight. Now this one was done on Sabrina's video. I think it's number 7. So that is the same colour weight as what Sabrina has brought me out of. That's it. She got the lot. And then what else have we got? I don't know, is that one gone on? Yeah. Right, we have the flower fields. Again, this is a DK weight. Let's do that. Okay, there is 2 of these available. Come on. Oh, that's come up lovely. And there's the colourways there. And of course, there are the videos attached that show you. So this has got speckling on and some lights and darks on the green and speckling the purple and pink section there. So you've got a couple of colours of yellow as well, where I was playing around with speckling. So there's 2 of those available. Right, and then we've got the brown haze. Now I like this one, so if you lot don't buy it, I've got another month or so. If you don't buy it, I'm using it. It's that simple. There is the brown haze. These are a little bit on the messy side, these hangs. I've got to sort them out so they look a bit neater. But that was made with a brand that I mixed up and didn't write down the ingredients list. So I didn't know how many ounces of this or how many, what was it? I was working with fluids, so I'd already pre-mixed up the dyes. But then I just went, I'll have a bit of this, I'll have a bit of that, I'll have a bit of this, I'll have a bit of that. And I used all the colours up, but didn't write down how many millilitres I used of each of doing it like this and doing it like that. So they're the only hanks I'll ever get, but I in this colourway. But I must admit, I really do like it. It's a light chestnut on the brown. Okay, and then we have a 50-50 in the rainbow. Oh, there we go. Okay, 50-50 in the rainbow. And a 50-50. This one, did I give it a name? Yeah, this is the spot and stripe. So I think this is from like video 2 or 3, I think. The spot and stripe. Okay, so that's the yarns there. So yeah, I've got a few for you to choose from if you want to. So just give me a shout and I can always write a list or point you back to this section of the video. I'll pop a timestamp down below so that if you are interested, you can rewatch this section and write down the names of the ones that you like. Please, I need a shot of them so I can buy more dye. Help an addicted girl out, will ya? I'm only playing. If you can't, you can't. And just enjoy the videos. So in regards to the dyeing, if there is colourways that you would like to see or colours that you would like to see mixed up to see how I do it, pop a message in the description box down below. If you'd also like to purchase some yarn that I haven't shown you today because I haven't got the right colourways, then find me over an email and set me a challenge. I will also, of course, tell you how much it's going to cost you for the yarn and for the postage. That's all I charge. I don't charge extras just because you're getting your name shouted out yet. So get in quick before I change my mind. Right, and the last little bit is, please remember, if you prefer to work with a written pattern alongside your tutorials, all of the patterns that are on the channel in the pattern playlist also have their own written pattern over on Ravelry. There are also a couple of other patterns over on Ravelry that have not been released on the channel, okay, because they were just too big. Okay, so there are a couple there. And for you eagle-eyed peeps, there is an item sitting on Dory there. You cannot see all of it. I will put it like that. You cannot see all of it. And the written pattern for that, fingers crossed, I will do another read through of it today. Make sure it's all cushy, and then I will be uploading it this afternoon or possibly Monday. We'll go for Monday. Okay, so and this one, that is a poncho with an added extra, so have a nose over on the Ravelry site on Monday where you'll get to see what it looks like. Now there are two of them within the pattern. You have a smaller one which is the green, and there is also a brown beige one. Now I've been wearing the brown beige one all week and I've been getting some beautiful comments from people, so fingers crossed you will like that. And there is there will be, once I finish editing it, which is why the pattern's waiting, there will also be a video link, so that if you purchase the pattern, you will get a free the tutorial that runs alongside it over here on YouTube. You'll get a quick link that will take you through to it, so you get that section earlier than everybody else on the channel because I'm an evil toe rag. No, it's not. It's because in my head, if you're paying for a pattern, I would like you to get something a little bit extra than just the written pattern. So that is why I do the written pattern with the tutorial, and I hold the tutorial for a little while on the channel. I hold back from releasing it so that if you've purchased, it makes it feel like your money's gone a little bit further than what it would otherwise. And the pattern name over on Ravelry is going to be Not Again Granny Poncho. So that is the Not Again Granny Poncho. Yes, I like silly crazy names for my patterns. I'm hoping they will stick. Right, so what else have I been up to this week? Well, of course, I've been tackling this one here. I started making them last week. I actually finished those last week, that one and the brown one that you haven't seen yet. Yeah, I made those last week, and this week it's been a case of editing the video, which I still haven't finished, writing up the pattern, which I still haven't finished because I need the link for the edited video. I've also done some more dye day videos, which is why you got one this week, because there wasn't going to be one otherwise, which is why it was also a day late, because I needed to edit that. And of course I've been doing my normal householdy stuff, housework, and helping hubby where needed. So I've been up the office with him a couple of times this week to put computers together and do all the lifting and moving and plugging in and doing up the screws and things like that. So it's been quite nice spending that extra time doing that sort of stuff with hubby, but it hasn't left a lot of time this week for crocheting. So I haven't actually, have I done anything? No, not really. I tried making a hat last night and played with a new stitch combination because I wanted it to match the poncho, but it didn't work out, so I stripped it back, started again, stripped it back, started again, and I think I'm going to run out of yarn, so there we go. And then another thing I did was I actually picked up knitting needles. You know I've got them, and you guys know, or some of you know anyway, that I'm able to do the knit stitch. Years and years ago I made a blanket for my daughter solely in knit stitch, because that was the only stitch my mum could teach me. So I decided, do you know what, I want to learn to purl. So I popped over to Linda Simpson, and I looked through her playlists, and she has an older playlist from the beginning of the year where she shows you how to do each of the stitches. And it starts off, here we go, let's roll this up so I don't spoil it too much. She starts off her list with a knit stitch. So there's the knit stitch, and she tells you to do a certain amount of rows, and I did it. I didn't do the same method for casting on as she did though, because I've learnt a different method and I quite liked that one. So I did that one instead of confusing myself with another method. I think it's easier if I just stick to the one that I know for now. Okay, I will try different cast on, well, I was going to try different cast on methods, but I'll explain a bit more in a minute. Right, so I did those. Then it was a case of learning to purl. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to change my colour up. Okay, turns out I didn't do enough rows, or I did one too many. Either way, there's my join. Now, yes, there is a bump in my join here because my tension was so off when I did my first row of purl. When it came to looking at what I thought was the front, there was a bit of a gap, so I just pulled that extra bit back so it looked all right. Because hey, it's only for me, and it was just going to be a sample, and just to see if I can do it. And I was planning to go through all of her videos and do exactly what she tells us to do. So I did the purl. That's the white section here. Yes, there's a hole. Don't ask me how. I don't know. My stitches are still correct. It must be a tension thing, right? But then I was looking at it and I'm thinking, these look the same. The stitches look the same. I must be doing something wrong. And I started doing the whole spiral of self-doubt. So put it down, went off and done some washing, housework. How strange. And then I came back and I thought, right, well, I've done those rows that she's told us to do, so forget it. I'm going to move on to the next row, and I changed my colour again. This time it's like a dark red, right? So this next section is one row of knit, one row of purl. Okay, going backwards and forwards. So I was doing really well. There's my join. Okay, so it looks a bit neater than last time. There is no gaping, but it's on the opposite side. Yeah, I mucked up again, right? So that's muck up number one, where I've joined the yarn in the wrong spot. Okay, then I got carried away, but then I got distracted by something, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was a conversation, and I ended up doing half a row in one stitch and then half a row in the next, and then going back to the previous. So I've completely and utterly mucked up these last two rows, as you can see there. It looks all right from that side. I could probably escape it just, but it's this end that's mucked up the most. So now I don't know, and I've put it down as well, so now I don't know if I'm on a knit, a purl, a knit row or a purl row, or I haven't got the foggiest, and it's a case of I'm going to have to pull back and pick up the stitches again. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, do you know what, I've had a go at it. It's something I can laugh at, and I wasn't actually enjoying it. I really wasn't. I was sitting there thinking, the time it's taken me to do this little section here, I could have knocked out the hat that I wanted to do. Okay, I could have done my hat. I could have probably done two of the hats in the same time, because that took me 2 full evenings, and evenings for me are around 5 hours worth of work. Okay, so that took me far too many hours, and I just was not enjoying it. So in regards to knitting, I'm going to put that back, put it down, maybe pick it up later on next year and have another go. Hopefully my brain will have caught up by that point, because I've got short-term memory issues. So at the moment I can still only remember how to knit, and I can't remember how to purl this morning. Yeah, it's that bad. So give me 3 to 6 months and my brain might remember it. If it doesn't, then I will go back and I will watch her videos again and give it another go. Possibly. There's no guarantee. I think I'm pretty much stuck with crochet. For me, that's what I enjoy more. And then the knitting's just too slow. Now I know I will speed up over time, because my knit section, I knocked that out really quickly. So I know with practice I can speed up, and I will speed up, but it's getting the oomph to do it and the interest to do it, and at the moment I don't have the interest. And maybe if I saw the most perfect, bestest pattern in the whole wide world that I just had to do, then I may change my mind. But I'm not going to look for them. So I'm not looking for them patterns, so it ain't going to happen, is it? Now for the next instalment of daft things that happened to us in Australia. Right, so for those of you that didn't see last week's Whips, Bits and Chat, where I explained why I'd been a little bit quiet for 2 weeks prior, it's because we managed to pop over to see the relatives in Australia. It was a surprise visit for my husband's parents. His brother did know. Okay, so if you want to hear how the surprise visit went, the introduction to the surprise visit went, pop over to last week's video where I'll tell you. Right, so here it goes. My daughter and husband popped around to Bro's brother-in-law's house, because my 17-year-old daughter decided she wanted to make her grandfather a birthday cake for his birthday. It's his big 80. Okay, so they all jump in the car making excuses that my husband is going to upgrade. Well, he was actually going to do it. He was upgrading my brother-in-law's computer, and it might take them most of the day, because of course his hands aren't working and he's having to instruct his brother on where to plug things in and how to take bolts out and stuff like that. They made a real big drama of it. So they said they were taking my daughter because he's got a cat and they want the cat to stay out the way, so she was in charge of looking after the cat. Where in fact she wanted to make this cake. He's got a free kitchen and he's also a chef, so she was thinking that he might be able to help her if she needed it. He's not a pastry chef. He's a chef, cook steak, manly. Hi, Andy. Right, so they pop into the plaza. They grab all the ingredients that they need to make this cake, and they head back to my brother-in-law's. And he says, sorry, he says, here's a cooker, girl. I'll set it going so it's warming up, so it's the right temperature, and then all you've got to do is mix it up, do what you need to do, and then shove it in the oven and it'll be ready to go. So she's gone, oh cheers Andy, thanks, because like I don't know how to use your cooker. And the boys go off and they start playing around with his with my brother-in-law's computer and fixing that, while my daughter of course is mixing up the cake mix by hand, all weighing it out. None of this box stuff. She hates working with box stuff, so she's weighing it all out. She's mixing the batter, she pops it in, opens the oven and pops it in and closes the door and stands back a little puzzled. Shouts to the brother-in-law, oi, uncle, it's the oven's not heated up yet. And he's like, well, give it a bit longer, don't worry babe, it didn't take you as long as I thought to mix up the cake mix. And she's gone, oh, okay then, but it didn't feel hot, my glasses didn't steam up. He goes, don't worry, stop stressing. Now he's used to my daughter, she's got Asperger's tendencies, and his son also has Asperger's, so he knows how to word things with her and work alongside her. So he's like, don't worry about it girl, it'll be fine, go and keep the cat out of our way. Right, so she goes off and does that, and she comes back half an hour later to check on the cake, and she can see through the door, and she's looking at the cake and it's not rising. And she shouted out again, "Oi, uncle, the cake's not rising. It's been half an hour. It should have been rising by now and starting to turn brown on top." She's gone, "But it doesn't look like anything's happening." He's gone, so he shouted out, "Don't worry about it, girl. It's just on its way. Give it another 15 minutes and then we'll open the door and we'll do the prick test." And she's like, "Right, okay." So she's gone away. She's not opened the oven. She's just walked away. And she's gone back 15 minutes later, dead on the dot, and looked at through the door and gone, "Uncle, it's been 45 minutes. It's not risen." And he's gone, "Did you remember to put the rising agent in?" She's gone, "Yeah, I put baking powder in, whatever. I know what I'm doing with mixing this stuff. I've made loads." He's gone, "Okay, I'm on my way." So he plods out and he looks through the door and he's like, "This is really strange. It has been in for 45 minutes and it doesn't look like it's risen." He's opened the door and his glasses didn't steam up, nor did my daughter's, because he put the grill on instead of putting the oven on. So for 45 minutes the top of the cake was getting a lovely grilling rather than baked. So they turned it off and they decided they were going to give it another go. So they gave it another go, and made another cake. Yeah, they did. Yeah, so they made this other cake and she was really happy with it, but she didn't have time to decorate it because they needed to come back. So they had to make excuses the next morning so that she could go and decorate the cake. So off she's gone, she's decorated the cake, and she's super happy with herself because it's the first time she'd been able to make her granddad a birthday cake or any sort of cake. And during this holiday, her and her granddad, who they actually call Poppy, it's Poppy followed by his given name. So her and her granddad were making bread by hand. They were doing lots of different baking during this holiday. So they'd wake up and she'd be like, "So what are we making today, Grandad?" And he'd be like, "Right, well, we're making a loaf of bread." And she's like, "Right, okay." And off they'd go, and then it's, "What are we making today?" "We're making rolls." "Oh, okay." But each time they did it, they were using different flours and different measurements and different this, that and the other. So it wasn't like she could wake up at silly o'clock in the morning, run out, do all the mixing, have the bread going before he got up, because we didn't know what type of bread he would want. So he's in his retirement, he really has taken up baking and cooking, which is really good because then there's lots of sweets and treats around, freshly made cakes and things. It was lovely. And I think I put on at least another 2 stone on my bottom, but it was worth it. And the reason today's video is late is because I was at the office on Friday. Yesterday I was helping my local Royal British Legion count up the tins, the collection tins. Each year, of course, collection tins go out to lots of different places in the UK, and each area has their own division and their own person who runs around giving out the tins, collecting them back in and everything. Now, our group is at the moment it's being run by a gorgeous chap called Andy, and we collect in all the tins, and of course the people that are collecting really love knowing how much they got in their tin each year. So as a part of the verification phase, the tins are opened, it's all written, all the tins are all matched up and all the details are written down, and then we crack the seals and we count the cash that's in it, and we always count it by hand. So we count it, we write it all down in a little spreadsheet for each individual tin, and then somebody else checks it, and then the cash then gets sorted and bagged, ready to be banked. And that was what we were doing yesterday. So I didn't actually manage to record this video on Friday or Saturday. Now Friday's my normal day. Didn't manage to get to it Saturday because I was there from 11 till 6 counting tins. We did quite well yesterday. I was a little bit late to the collection, but it was good because one lass had to leave and then I jumped in her seat, so that was really good. It meant that the momentum carried on going, and so I was exhausted. My brain was not in gear for chatting last night when I got back, so I've been working on this video since 8 o'clock this morning. Fingers crossed. It is now 9:15, so I'm going to be saying goodbye in a few moments. I'm going to then have to wait for this video to be squished down and then upload it to YouTube and then set it going. So fingers crossed. It's more than likely going to be midday by the time it gets to you. I'm so sorry if it gets in earlier. Bonus, put a bonus comment in the comment section down below. Please also write a comment on anything you would like to see on the channel. Give this girl some ideas. She's starting to run a bit low. And comment on other bits and pieces within the video, because of course I love reading your comments and I love responding to them all. And if you can, please give us a thumbs up. And also, if you are not a channel member yet, why not? It's free. Hit that subscribe button and hit the bell, and it will bring up a little pop-up screen. If you hit all, that will then notify you of all of the videos that I put out, so you won't miss a crazy update or a crazy tutorial or a crazy this or a crazy that, because hey, I'm crazy and I'm hoping you like the channel. Right, that is it for me for today. I'm going to say goodbye, so I will say stay chilled, stay happy and keep crafting. Ta-ra everybody.